Hi, and welcome to the walkthrough for the King West stories. When you get your link, you'll be directed to this page, hit Use Template, and this will bring you into your own Canva account. And once you're here, I would urge you to head over to File and make a copy, and that will just put a copy on your home page. So if you do take a few left turns and you're like, oh, I wish I had the original, then it will be on your home page for you without you having to go to Etsy and downloading the whole thing all over again. Once you've done that, you're good to head over to Uploads and upload your listing photos. And in order to use these, you don't need to upload all your listing photos. I would stick to 10 to 15 is more than enough. And that way you're not sitting here for an hour waiting for Canva to upload all of these to the library. So once you have your listing photos uploaded, they'll look similar to this, and it's time to swap out the photos and change things up. So you just choose the photo you want to use for any slide, hover it over the photo box, and it should pop right into place. Then you double click, and you can change the focus point. And when you're happy with that, you can head over to Just Listed and change this to anything that you need it to be, just sold, exclusive, open house, whatever you want. If you're not happy with the font, highlight the font, head over to the font section and choose either your brand fonts that you're used to using or something that you like better than this one. You can change your listing title here, and if the address is a little bit longer than this particular one, there are a couple things you can do. You can head over to the spacing tool, and this will reduce the space between the letters, giving you a little bit more wiggle room. But you can also head over to the font size itself and reduce this as well. So if you have a really long address, that is one trick. You can also highlight this box and stretch it out a little bit so that your address can fit in with the same spacing effect. So this is something that you can play around with depending on what property you have listed. This background will be locked when you receive it, so you head over to the lock button and that'll unlock it. Then you make sure it's highlighted, head over to the color panel, and you can choose a color that is more in line with your brand, or if you like the way it looks, then just leave it that way. So a couple things to note is anytime you want to change a color, you just highlight the element that you want to change the color of and then head over to the color chooser. There are triangles in different slides, and those are just acting as arrows. So if you ever lose them, they're probably behind one of these elements. So just click that element and hit send to back or send backward, and then this will be revealed. If you need to change the color of that, select it and change the color. So on this particular one, this is over the image. Again, you're going to want to unlock it if you want to change the color of that. Sometimes you might have an image that is darker and you can't see this text, and that's when you just want to move it around in order for it to look good or be legible. And you can do that a multitude of ways. You can either stretch out this text box and then bring everything on the same line, so now it fits. And if you have dark photos or dark backgrounds like this and it's just not working, then you can definitely change this to a lighter color, and that's as easy as it gets. On this particular frame, there is a transparency on this, and that was for an effect and for texture. So if you bring in your own photo, for example, like this one, and you're like, hey, why does it look like that? Just select the box, head over to transparency, and you can move that up to 100 if that's the look you're going for. We liked that textured effect, so we're just going to leave it at 50. If you need to change the orientation of any of these text boxes, there's a little orientation tool, and you just click that until it says 0 degrees, and then you're good. You can do something like that. These are two different elements. There's a triangle and a rectangle. So in order to move them around as one, select the triangle, hit Shift on your keyboard, and while you're holding Shift down, select the second element. Now right click, hit Group, and voila, you have one element that you can move around. And when we head down to this quote or testimonial card, you might want to add a photo behind it, in which case you're just going to hover that over and it will become the background. Then you can double click on it, move it around, and of course it's a little bit distracting, so I'm going to take the transparency and bring it right down, and that way you can still read the text, but you get a feel for the person who wrote it. And that is it, my friend. Once you are done with this, you can head over to download as PNG, and if you're using this as a template and you don't want to download all 10, you can choose which page you want to download and it will just download that one for you. You can also use tools like the animate function that Canva just came out with, which is tons of fun. And if you're using this for stories, then this is a really great way to just add animation. So you can just hit things like rise or block. On the pro version, they have a little bit more like scrapbook, which is fun. And you can just play around with them and decide, you know what, that looks really great, I'm going to download that. You download it then as a movie and you upload it to your Instagram stories. And it adds a little bit more visual appeal for your story. And that's it. If you need any more help, please feel free to head over to 4thstreetcreative.com/tutorials to access our large resource library. Happy designing!